and unites the physical to the spiritual and the multidimensional to the dimensional. It's a place where there are crystalline structures within a memory vault called the Akashic Record. It's where your soul comes and goes. It is the first place you visit coming into the planet. And it is the last place you visit when you leave the planet. The Cave of Creation, it's a multidimensional place that holds an esoteric crystalline object for every soul that has ever been on the planet and every soul to come. So in summary, the Cave of Creation keeps a record of who you are as you come and go, and it imbues your lifetime of experiences into the vibration of the planet, even after you have gone. It's the multidimensional system that captures the human experience for Gaia, and it stays within Gaia. So Lee, back to the question, how will Gaia, the crystalline grid, and the Cave of Creation be affected by the new prophecy and this new system?
You know, what I really enjoy here is that we're seeing the awareness of those asking the questions. They've listened, they know what Kryon has said, and they're asking wonderful questions that I would ask immediately if you know I had to ask the questions. This is going to be easier when you think about these things separately. So let's talk about the crystalline grid, which was just defined for you. How will it be affected? Kryon has continually hinted at something so profound that it makes me understand this shift better and better. How are we affected by this crystalline grid right now? The answer is that often the very worst things that humans have experienced on that grid stay on that grid, and they come up to bother us. Remember that it's also a spiritual grid too, according to Kryon. That's not really been explained as much, but now is the time it starts to become more and more of that spiritual grid for us. Kryon has indicated that it begins to give us some of the most joyful and beautiful things that have ever happened on the planet. Remember, that crystalline grid remembers everything, not just the most dramatic things that are negative. It is crystalline. It remembers. It stores energy. That means it stored everything, even the good things. It remains intact. This is the answer. Having collected all those things, both positive and negative, but now it begins to affect us all with full cooperation of Gaia in posturing our lives with more hope and peace. Did you get that? Remember one of the things in the last questions I said that there are enormous energies starting to happen that cooperate with our consciousness coming from Gaia. Listen, there is help from others on this. It's part of the Kryon teaching some years ago about how this grid would be changed for us, by us, for some time, and that something else is going to happen. There are something called time capsules that were placed within this planet for a very good reason. We're going to go to that later, but there were time capsules placed here if we made it to the shift. And we did. Do you remember that? Maybe this will be good for another program, perhaps. In the case of the Cave of Creation, so we're moving on. That's all I'm going to say about the crystalline grid, is that it is starting to change and give us positive stuff instead of negative stuff. In the case of the Cave of Creation, I want you to remember something very clearly. The new prophecy is going to be affecting old souls, not the entire population of humanity all at once. Let me summarize. The prophecy was for old souls, not the way reincarnation is going to work for everyone. It's old souls returning, not everyone returning. Now, eventually, That'll be the way of it, this prophecy, but not until there's more substantiate awakening, a lot more substantial awakening on this planet. Therefore, for those who wallow in the old energy, like the old energy, perhaps they're newbies and they've come in and that's what they're attracted to, the old Akashic energy will still be influencing them both now and the next time around. It's important you realize that. So this new system is for old souls. Again, this prophecy is the beginning of a new system. Starts with the old souls, which is most of you who are watching this. So that system of the old Akash will remain active for some time for those who still need it. Then when it's time, are you ready for this? Because this is new information for me. That cave of creation will be closed, for its purpose will have been served. You'll know when it happens, for the planet will be celebrating a higher consciousness. That's the first time Kryon ever revealed that to me. I think that's because you asked the question. See how this works for both of us? Someday it'll close. Like an old history book closes. I don't have any more information to give you on this, but I want to emphasize that humans will still be here, ascended masters all. Now let me turn to something very related. And this, again, it's the purview of Monica's research, and it's something we're going to speak about in the future, perhaps an entire program. But it interfaces to all these questions about Gaia. And it's any discussion of the grids of the planet, it's there for it. In the year 2013, Kryon validated some areas of the Earth that were deemed to be part of an ancient system of time capsules that were left us by the star seeds, the Pleiadians. Now, this information was not given in a seminar. Instead, it was drawn on a napkin while Monica and I were in a coffee shop in Russia. Are you ready for that? This is so unusual, but that's the way it happened. The information was the result of an amazing story about our star family building and leaving for us a sacred system of energy that would help us clean up the planet's energy if we needed that, if we made it past that, which is the prediction of demise in the years of 2000 and beyond. It's a time capsule that would open at the right time. That's the kind of a time capsule it was. When we had arrived at the center of the precession of the equinoxes, 2012, and when the great shift was in full swing. That's now. That event has arrived right on time and coincides with the new Kryon prophecy that we're now discussing right now, this evening. This information is called the nodes and the nulls. That's what the time capsules were called. And we haven't spoken of it much. But now we'll begin to teach more and more about it, for it's being activated and it's being felt all over the planet.
So the information about the nodes and nulls is very recent, and I get very, very passionate about this subject. So I'm so glad that Lee mentioned it so that we can bring you more information. Now, while the information is very recent, the nodes and nulls themselves are incredibly ancient. In fact, they were placed here on Earth by the Pleiadians 200,000 years ago in case we would make it past a significant decision point. Now, I mentioned they were placed 200,000 years ago because that's the same timing that Kryon tells us humanity received its spiritual DNA. So you can see how this whole system has been put together as part of a complete package of what humans will decide to do with their consciousness given free choice. Now that decision point, that significant marker in time, Lee already mentioned it and referred to it. It's called the 2012 marker. And we have made it. We are still here on the planet without destroying ourselves. I think that's a pretty clear sign. We've made it past the marker. And because we've made it past the marker, that's why Kryon began to tell us about the nodes and nulls and why they are so important. As Lee indicated, I mean, you can think of them as time capsules, but instead of thinking them like the way we create time capsules, where it's a container that holds something from the past, you might bury it in the ground and hope that a future generation opens it and then they get information from the past. The Pleiadian time capsules in Gaia, they're different to that because they are releasing multidimensional information of ascended consciousness in real time. Doesn't that totally change your view of how you perceive the time capsules within the Earth? What I'd like to do now is to give you a quote from Kryon about the time capsules. Here it is. As the time capsules are slowly released, they modify the crystalline grid to help human consciousness shift and eventually create an ascended planet. The templates are not just information. They are quantum portals of Pleiadian life. Now, before we go any further here, I think it's really helpful if I show you a map where the nodes and nulls are located. So looking on the screen now, you'll see a map of the nodes and nulls, and you'll notice that there's actually 24 different locations. But since every node has a matching null, there's actually 12 pairs, or as we have just said to you, there's 12 time capsules. And I realised too that with the map, it might be a little bit difficult to discern what those locations were. And many of you are probably thinking, well, where are they? I need to know exactly where they are. So on the screen right now, I'm going to just have the table that lists the nodes and nulls and the matching pairs that they represent, just so you can get a visual of that. And again, you can take a screenshot of that, or you can visit kryon.com/nodes, where you will see the map and the table there. Okay, now that you've been exposed to a little bit of the location where they are, the first question most people ask is this. Well, what's the purpose of the nodes and nulls? I mean, why is it that the Pleiadians even placed them here? Well, here's the short answer. It's to accelerate the evolution of human consciousness. So are you getting that? Time capsules put here for us, if we make it past 2012, the time capsules are going to open to accelerate our choice to shift consciousness. That's the whole purpose. They are geared to push us into higher consciousness with the delivery of help and information, because humanity has been stuck in an old energy for eons. I mean, you've seen it, war after war after war, and we're still experiencing what I hope is the last wars the planet will ever see. That's part of an old energy system. But the nodes and nulls system, it's part of an energy that is needed to allow humans better choices to create a faster change of consciousness. And it really becomes like our power tool to go beyond darkness. So naturally, the next question is how? What's the process and how do the nodes and nulls work? Well, each null is collecting the negative energies that are on the grids of the planet, and they're pushing all of the negative energy, just like a vacuum cleaner, sucking it up from the grids, and then pushing it to the nodes, where because the nodes are so sacred, that energy, the inappropriate energy, becomes burned up and transmuted. Again, because of the sacredness that exists within the nodes. And it means the grids are being cleaned of war, horror, sorrow, inappropriate things, and instead there is a delivery of higher consciousness and the energy of compassion, integrity, unity, and coherence. So here's another question that's often asked. How does humanity receive the quantum information being released by the nodes and nulls? Well, the answer is that with free choice, always with free choice, humans can receive higher consciousness information from their 24th chromosome pair. That's always been the design. Within the 24th chromosome pair are the seeds of mastery, and this pair represents the time capsules within your own DNA. And within this time capsule is the template of ascended consciousness. And the result is the delivery of wisdom and mastery and enhanced intuition. And that is why future generations of humans will be guided by love. And by the way, the old souls and light workers on the planet, that's you watching this, we're already embodying the attributes of this new awakened human. And that's why I say you are absolutely in the right place at the right time. And I think, Lee, it would be fair to just say that is why I'm so passionate about the nodes and nulls information, because it really connects the dots as to why Kryon says light is winning. You cannot hold back the tide. It's like the ocean tide is coming in and people are busy building walls to try and stop the tide from coming in, but it's too late.
You know, what I like about the information and the answers that have been given today, and I rarely say this, but think of a newborn baby coming into the planet in a generation or so, not having to have this crystalline grid remember all the wars, to have all the negativity. And especially in difficult areas in Europe, I think of, where this has happened so many hundreds and hundreds of years, it's like almost a fresh start in a certain way. So there are none of those influences that get put right into what used to be our Akash and those kinds of things, and we remember it all. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And that is why Kryon has given emphasis on, and I don't even like the word activating, but activating the 24th chromosome pair, because it's constantly, it's like has antenna on the DNA, the 24th chromosome, and these antennae are tuned for what the nodes and nulls are broadcasting onto the grids. And just that very idea of portal of Pleiadian, quantum portal of Pleiadian life being broadcast to us to receive. And again, it's through free choice and through your intent to receive it or not. And then here's the other last little piece of esoteric part, is that Kryon has said every invention, I think he even said every invention for the next 4,000 years to come are being multidimensionally distributed onto the grids. And that's where humanity is picking them up when we realize to not weaponize anything.
The other thing I'll mention too, and you said the last thing, but hey.
Second last thing then.
We're just here to play. My good friend and teacher and Professor Greg Braden, he started so many of his lectures with, they say that everything has already been invented. He says we have the answer to poverty, we have the answer to feeding the planet, we have the answer to power, we have the answer to water. He said it's already here. And he said, but this is the time where there's an allowance to let it be released, to have it manifest and to have it work. I like that.
Yeah. So I hope everyone has gained some answers to questions they may have had, and I realize there's probably more questions as a result of our discussion. So if you do have questions for us, please submit them in the portal. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing this information with everybody, and we are out of time now. We've used up all our allocated time and we're now going to take a break But then we will be back here for the miracle moments and the circle of 12.
Hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our time together in this, I think I'll call it the first Fourth Wednesday Forum.
That's a tongue twister.
I know. We've had some programs with just us before, but this is the first one where we said this is what we're going to do and dedicated it for this. This is going to be a regular feature within our new Wednesdays with Kryon. Every fourth Wednesday, you can expect us to answer your questions and discuss all things Kryon. Well, it's again time to do our miracle moments, and it's still, Monica's my favorite section of the program. Now, I tell you this every time, but there are new members arriving all the time, so this is just for the new members of the program. You can find the miracle moments section in your membership portal, where you can request prayers of help and benevolence both for yourself and somebody you love. If you or somebody you know has had a heartfelt experience, a healing, a little miracle, or a big one, we'd love for you to share it with us. We truly love hearing about good things happening in your life. So, I'd like to ask Monica to share a miracle moment, which has happened to one of our Wednesday with Kryon members.
So, this miracle moment comes from Lessa, and Lessa says, I have suffered with fibromyalgia for 17 years to the degree that I had to leave my employment due to the severity. Some days made it difficult to even get out of bed and function as I wished with day-to-day living activities. I began following Kryon, intrigued with the spiritual concepts being presented, and then the teachings about innate and smart body techniques to work more closely to my physical body wellness. I began speaking to spirit and innate in a loving visualization manner with a, well, what can it hurt type mentality. I was on the fence about it, if it could possibly work, but hey, who wouldn't love a miracle? The longer I did it, the stronger my belief became, and I felt as though I was experiencing subtle changes. Over a period of several months, the subtle became others that might be in that same situation you were in, because if you've done it, others can do it, right? All right, everyone. I would like to invite all of you to join me in sending energy, sending prayers of love, compassion, and benevolence to those who are asking for it. So if you've never done this before, all we really require is your intent and your willingness to do so, because Spirit knows what you're doing at the soul-to-soul level. So here we go. Let's close our eyes and just take a moment now to settle in, tuning into the energy that's within you now, free of distraction, focusing on the area of your heart. And filling your heart, fill up with gratitude. Whatever experience you have where you feel completely grateful for a moment that you have experienced. And it could be the most simplest gratitude. Someone bought you a cup of coffee, and that in that moment there was so much gratitude. Someone helped a person you love, and in that moment there was so much gratitude. And so feeling this emotion of gratitude in your heart, let us carry forward with our intent and our compassion and benevolence that we are going to pass this ball of gratitude, this energy ball of gratitude that we are feeling within ourselves, to all of those who are requesting prayers of help and benevolence, love and compassion, and just feel, sense, or visualize those requesting prayers of help, past, present, or future. All of them right now are receiving this ball of energy that is this immense feeling of gratitude. And they are simply going to take that feeling of gratitude, and whatever in their life is going on, they are instantly going to find at least one thing in this moment that they can be grateful for. And in that feeling of gratitude, the entire chemistry of the body is flooded with love chemicals, gratitude chemicals, appreciation chemicals. And let us now extend that giving of the energy ball of gratitude to everyone else on the planet. Feel, sense, visualize, know that all of us collectively are sending out energetic balls of gratitude with the intent that every human on the planet right now is receiving an energetic feeling of gratitude. For in every person there is at least one moment that they can connect with an energy of gratitude, a feeling of something they are grateful for. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for this gift you have given. And from this energy of deep gratitude, let us gratefully move to Kryon and the Circle of 12.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon. Come a little closer. In the gratitude that you might have for your life, for the love that Spirit has for you, we're going to have indeed still another experience with the Circle of 12. Dear ones, I want to continue this whole idea that gratitude may have an energy of its own. It's like the salve on the negativity, the wound that might be the negative energy all around us. What if gratitude itself had an energy, an affirming energy, that every time you give gratefulness to anything in your life, you are actually enhancing what's to come? As odd as that may sound, that's exactly right. This is part of the human experience that is a new experience that most people don't understand that comes in that field of consciousness is energy. What is the consciousness of gratitude? What if it were measurable? What if it goes into the room, even when you think it, and changes and postures the thing around you? What if somebody could be even affected by you taking a moment of being grateful for what's going on around you?